call our instructional strategies, our brain strategies that we focused on during our professional development this summer. Well, those strategies are going on every day in classrooms across our district, and we wanted to share those with you. We want you to watch your fellow teachers and be encouraged and inspired and motivated to finish out this year strong.
Something that I like to do in my classroom is teach with song. I try to find songs that will go with my math and science concepts. I just feel that the kids can connect to the song better than me just standing there saying the same thing over and over.
Race right, moving to the left, coming to the middle, yes, can you pass the test? Race right, line, moving to the left, you know it every time. Ones, tens, hundreds.
My name is Reynolds. I'm a self-contained supervisor, and I taught self-contained classrooms, mostly the smaller 3 to 5 year olds, for several years. So one of the best behavior management strategies I used was visual supports, and I would, if I had a behavior problem, I tried to figure out what I could demonstrate to the kids visually that would help them understand what I expected out of them. For instance, like I said, I had little kids, and when they were lining up to go out of the room, we made sure they had their pictures and on a spot, so where they knew exactly where to go. Problems with backpacks and those kind of things, then we would demonstrate or use a visual that said you put your backpack up and then you sit down in a circle, or whatever it was that we demonstrated it with the visuals. Step by step. You can't assume a kid understands or a student understands what's expected out of them unless you actually lay it out visually.
Each year when I teach my students different parts of speech, we learn jingles or songs to help incorporate that knowledge and to ingrain it into them, and in hopes that as they get older, if they have to identify nouns or verbs or prepositions, adjectives or adverbs, they'll recall these jingles we learned in 3rd grade.
With action, there's no doubt. It tells what the subject does, like sing and shout. Action verbs are fun to do. Now it's time to name a few. So clap your hands and join our rhyme. Say those verbs in a record time. Preposition starting with an A. Aboard, about, above. Across after begins. Along, around, at.
I think I'm like a lot of teachers in that I don't really plan or say I'm going to use this brain-based strategy today or another brain-based strategy. I think that most teachers just kind of naturally work that into their teaching, but I do think it's important to use a variety of learning styles in the classroom for the kids to help them learn. I like to use a lot of games and puzzles that we've made to help the kids make a connection to what we're doing in class. Okay, you're going to roll the dice. Got a green. You don't have to write all those steps. It would just be that. So I think that using these types of activities and brain-based strategies can help to accomplish that in the classroom and to make a difference in their learning.
Even though I've taught for 33 years, I'm still looking for fresh and new ideas to use in my classroom. I love to use songs. I love to use chants. I have discovered that this helps the kids to learn more, they catch on to it.
The whiteboard's at the top, the whiteboard's at the top. Now that you're in 2nd grade, the whiteboard's at the top. The hose go on the left, the hose go on the left. Now that you're in 2nd grade, the hose go on the left.
Check your white part, check your hose. Are they on the left?
Yep.
The name goes on the left.
The name goes on the left. Now that you're in 2nd grade, the name goes on the left.
Okay, put your name.
One strategy that I use in my classroom on a daily basis is the mirror me and teach strategy. Whether we're introducing a new skill or reviewing something that we learned the day before, I have my students mirror me, repeat after me, and then I have them turn to their neighbor and teach. For example, today we were reviewing what we learned about past, present, and future tense. Oh, the present means it's happening now. Everybody mirror me. The present happens right now.
The present happens right now.
Awesome. After I reviewed the terms with them by mirroring me, then I have them turn to their neighbor and reteach using the same motion. It helps kids to have hand motions or movements to remember things. If I'm wanting to assess a specific student, I'll listen in on their conversation to make sure they're understanding the terms correctly.
We use a think time strategy in my classroom. We call it blow it in your hand. So when I ask a question, I say think inside your brain, and they have to think about what all the answers could be. So sometimes I list them out loud, like the weather types, sunny, windy, snowy, and they have to think inside their head and then blow the answer in their hand, hold it in their hand, and then sometimes I say release for the whole class, so everyone releases like we're releasing a balloon. And sometimes I ask one kid to release, so they'll say, blow it in your hand, and one child release, and they will release their answer. Your big, huge telescope. Look out the window. Remember, foggy means there's clouds close to the ground. Look at your telescope and see if you see clouds. Put your telescope away.
No.
Answer me if you have. Do you see clouds in the sky? Blow your answer in your hand. Go. Ready? Release.
No.
I like this strategy because it gives them a lot of time to think inside their head, and they can change their answer if they need to, or it's not an immediate answer, so they have time to think about what would be right and why it would be right. Blow the weather into your hand. Ready? Release.
Windy.
Because every brain is different, and they come to us with different experiences and different genes, I teach each student individually, and so within my class and within each unit, we do different things. The first thing, like we label different things like the skeleton. I'll have them go through and label all the parts of it. And then for my hands-on people like me that have to touch it, feel it, put it together and all that stuff, we use clay a lot, where we are building the clay models such as this skin cross-section. We also use things in my class like moving around when I'm teaching actions and stuff like flexion and extension. We stand up and do flexion and extension of different body parts. But I feel like using these different concepts helps the kids learn and retain what they know.
Today we did our word making activity, and our activity for word making is so that the students get used to applying the phonics lessons that we go over, whether it's A consonant E or new blends, new sounds, and making new words and how to build those words with the new information that they've been given. Replace it with a C.
Race. Race.
Race. Very good. You got it, Lexi? Okay, good job. Okay, now listen to this one carefully. In front of the R, add a T.
Trace. Trace.
Trace. Trace. We also did our story making activity, and our story making activity is more to get the students used to being creative and knowing that they do know how to make a story. Feeling comfortable with making new sentences and applying a story and putting it all together, having a beginning, a middle, and end of a story.
Is nice.
Is nice. What do you think I should do there, Carly?
Period.
Period. Okay, I want to start another sentence. Santa is nice. Would you like to start?
Santa
Hayden?
has
Lexi?
a
One thing I've noticed with my students since the beginning of my teaching career is that they always have trouble with problem-solving skills, and they always seem to get lost in the questions. So one thing that I've done over the last couple of years is I've started to make anchor charts just like these. They're pretty similar to the kind of stuff that you buy in the store, except when I make them myself, it allows me to be very specific. When we're taking a test or we're doing an assignment, and they hit that stumbling block where they just don't know where to go, they can look up here and get that visual cue of what the question's asking them, and then they can go forward from there and do the best that they possibly can.
This project consists of two different parts. The first part is you'll be creating a drawing or a map of the neighborhood using poster board. Include the following items. The name of your neighborhood. Okay, what is your neighborhood or community going to be called? Come up with a fun name. Location, urban, suburban, or rural. What's the difference? Who knows what urban is?
Urbanization stuff, right?
City, okay, it's a large city. You're living in, downtown Dallas, downtown Fort Worth, and we're urban, okay? Suburban, those.
Okay, my second grade class, I teach math, and my second graders were struggling a little bit with their addition facts, some of them, and so we decided to put a password on the door, and each time they go out the door, any time for the day, to the restroom, lunch, PE, they would have to say their addition fact, and this just helps them to see it multiple times throughout the day.
6 plus 8 is 14. 6 plus 8 is 14. 6 plus 8 is 14.
For brain strategies, for me, one of my favorite things, I've always followed Eric Jensen, even when I was a classroom teacher. I'm a counselor now, but I love to go in classrooms and see teachers still using some of the strategies, like letting the kids have a bottle of water on their desk, because I know how important it is to keep the brain wet constantly. Change of activities and giving kids the opportunity to do bilateral stimulation. Like even when I work with kids, I'll say, I taught science, and I would say, okay, point to the east, point to the west, point to the north, point to the south, that kind of thing, and or stand up and cross yourself, and give yourself butterfly pats, because all those things stimulate both sides of the brain. I think when you're getting ready for high performance from kids, always having peppermints available, because the aroma of peppermints is going to really stimulate their senses and get them into action.
We do the Simon Says game in class because it connects just a word with a motion and in their brains, and hopefully they can remember it. Also, it's fun, gets them out of their desk, and they look forward to doing it. So instead of just memorizing, it puts that motion in their head. Simon says perpendicular. Reflection. Ooh, good. Simon says reflection. Simon says inch. Simon says centimeter. Simon says acute. Obtuse.
I try to use interactive study aids called foldables, and these really reach out to the visual kinesthetic learners. And what we do is we put concepts and terms into a foldable. They keep up with them in their spiral, and what it does, it just provides a neat little way for them to study or review concepts that we learned in class.
Right now, my students are working on their warm-up. They're basically writing down their trick or their mnemonic device to remember the planets in order. We're going back and reviewing a third grade tech, but it's also going to be on the fifth grade STAR test. So right now, they're writing on their Post-it notes, getting their trick written down, and we're about to go over those tricks and share with each other.
My very excellent mother just served us noodles.
Earth and Mars, these are the planets close to the stars. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. We're going to practice the rules, and I want you to be loud as possible, and I want you to be talking to the people next to you, and I want you to use your gestures, and I want you to do it as quickly as possible. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your hands for permission to speak or leave your seat. Be safe and make smart choices.
The strategy that I'm using is just called whole class response. And what you do is you have a signal with your kids. You have to come up with that, and you have to teach them what to do. So my signal with them is that I have my hand raised. That's how they know to listen and to think about what I'm asking, and then this is respond.
All right, everybody, remember this row right here, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, is representing N. N represents what?
The position.
The position. N represents what?
The position
the
number.
position number. Okay?
And it's a great strategy because it gives all kids the opportunity to respond. So someone might not feel comfortable raising their hand and answering, but if everybody's answering, then they'll answer. And if you notice, some kids even get it wrong, but that's okay, because I always give them a second chance to answer correctly so that they're not remembering, oh, I got it wrong, that one answer.
Third number in my sequence. If I'm looking for the third number, what am I going to put for N?
3.
Oh, we weren't paying attention. Sorry, were we not ready? If I want to know the third number in my sequence, what am I going to put for N?
3.
A 3. Remember, N is that position. That's what I'm substituting in each time.
If most of my class is not responding correctly, then I know I need to back up a little bit and go over that again. And so it's kind of a good on-the-spot assessment. And then if you notice, then I do, though, have a time where I walk around and really see, okay, who is just kind of going with the crowd and sort of getting it, but not really.